Hello and welcome to the Kristen Weardon Show. Thank you so much for joining us today. I have an amazing guest that I've known for a little while, actually a few years, right, Jillian?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I've known Jillian for a few years, but there's some great and super interesting things that I did not know about her. So we're going to dive into all of that right now. So this is Jillian Young, and I think I've known you for how long now? 7 years?
Yeah, six or 7 years. Yeah.
That's how long you've been at Premiere,
Mhm.
right? So Jillian's tell us your official title.
Sure. It's just I just do a lot of paperwork, but I'm the president and broker of Premiere Plus Realty.
Okay, because you started in a different position and now
Mhm.
we are here.
Right.
That's fantastic.
Mhm.
I think that's quite the promotion too.
Yeah, I'm very grateful. It feels like a gift, and I don't take that for granted. So.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
Okay, so you let's see. So you have a business background, but you also did TV and Hollywood-ish, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Tell us about that journey and about the confidence that you feel that it gave you in business.
Oh, sure. Well, you know better than anybody when you are in acting classes, communications classes, journalism classes. It teaches you to present well and uh, to make sure that you're clear in what you're trying to communicate and say. So I think that has helped me throughout business. But yeah, I have a bit of a TV background. So I spent 20 years hosting syndicated television shows, a variety of different kinds, mostly with one production company out of Orlando. And I wrote for a show called Travel Through History that won an Emmy Award, which was really fun. And I'm really into history, so that was a fun project. I've done a lot of different things. I was a radio DJ for a local station for a little while. I had an afternoon drive show, and I've done voiceover work, and I've live hosted a parade that was nationally broadcasted, and I worked at WBBH NBC2 locally as a traffic anchor for a few years. So I have a bunch of random project-based television experience, but all of that taught me to distill information and communicate clearly with confidence, like you said. And I think that that's translated into what I have found is my real passion, which is building and growing and organizing businesses. So that has been far and away an advantage, I think, that I otherwise wouldn't have had.
Well, I have to let you know first that
Mhm.
I did not know all that obviously when I met you. And then a little birdie came in and said, you have to ask Jillian about her history in TV. And so, of course, I went and I stalked a little bit.
Yeah.
And I found your show about the history.
Mm-hmm.
I found some YouTube videos. I was like, oh, that's Jillian. That's my broker.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a really fun project. So I wrote and voiced that over, and so they would go. The production company would go and film a bunch of historical sites, and then we would go back and try to make it interesting, mostly for people to encourage them to travel to historical sites,
Right.
which is something that only a small portion of the population is interested in, but. But it was
But
really
it's still
fun.
it's history, and if you're passionate
Right.
about it, you
Mhm.
might as well try to work that into something that you like to do.
Right.
Which
Right.
communicating through television
Mm-hmm.
and radio
Mm-hmm.
was what you were doing at that time. So
Mm-hmm.
that's perfect for segue into that. That's great. So now
Mm-hmm.
you lead one of the top real estate brokerages firms in our community. What motivated your transition from entertainment to real estate, and what lessons, well, you already told us, but if there is any other lessons from your previous career, have you applied to the real estate?
So that's a great question. And I think it's
It's like twofold.
right. I think we all have so many things that inform our experience and bring us to where we are in this present moment. And so for where I am and how I feel so lucky to be where I am right now has to do with the education I was blessed to receive. I learned so much about communications and philosophy through my education at Florida Gulf Coast University and various projects I worked on there and various organizations I was able to help in that effort. And through helping local businesses and organizations with their communications and marketing, I realized that a lot of businesses need help. They do the thing that they're doing really, really well, but they might not know about organizational communication or team building or setting goals or strategy, things like that. And so I'm an avid reader. I'm a speed reader. And so I like to learn everything I can about a particular business that I'm helping and then help them formulate the building blocks of the way that they run their business. So it just so happened that I was able to work here at Premiere Plus Realty and learn everything that there was to learn about real estate, and have been able to help our owner and broker really solidify their vision and their mission and their foundational business practices. And so that's afforded me just this great opportunity to continue to lead. So I would say that the entertainment industry and my love for reading and history and communication studies gives me a unique perspective in running a real estate brokerage, because our agents and our managing brokers, they've got the real estate details down, right?
Mhm.
So they're the boots on the ground, they're the ones doing it. But it's hard to take a step back when you're in the day-to-day and go, how do I want my business to run? How do I build a team? How do I reach these goals? And so that's what I am really passionate about doing, and that's what we've been able to accomplish over the last few years.
Well, I've seen a different, I started there in 15. For those of you who don't know, I have had my real estate license for 32 years, and I went to Premiere Plus Realty in 2015, worked for mom years ago and made all of that. And working for a family is interesting, but one of the reasons I picked Premiere was because it was a family-run business, and it had the same vibe that I had when I worked at my mom's brokerage for many, many moons. You guys can guess my age, so we don't want to talk about that. We don't want to talk about how many. Yeah, but in doing that, in the changes I've seen since you've gotten there, what you just said makes complete sense, because I've seen changes, I've seen growth, I've seen certain team members come and go, and then the right fit happen for that position. So in the changes, I can see the more of a team, more than this person does this person does that, and it's kind of all we have, which is kind of a typical business, especially a small business, even though Premiere isn't a small business anymore. I've seen with a lot of businesses that they'll have somebody, okay, this is your job description, and this is your job description, and over here is yours, but then how they work together isn't always one, a personality. Sometimes they can't work with other people. They're just not a team person. And other times they don't know anything but their section, and so they're afraid to take input or give input. And I don't see that in what you've helped kind of revamp within the Premiere Plus Realty dynamic.
That is like the biggest compliment I could ever receive. That's what I stay up late thinking about, and what we work hard to do every day. So it's really nice that you recognize that. But the first thing that I did when I was promoted to vice president was say, well, we need a team. We can't have, we had a lot of disparate, to your point, a lot of siloed departments and disparate decision making, where the right arm didn't know what the left arm was doing, and we didn't have clear goals, and we were going, wow, we're doing a great job, but we don't really know what the secret sauce is, if we could define it so we can accelerate it and do more. And it was really fun creating a team, organizational communication culture, and getting the right people in the right places, and making sure that they have good goals, and it makes all the difference. I think that what I enjoy doing at Premiere Plus is transferable to any business, because I happen to have fallen in love with real estate, and I absolutely love
I understand
all of that.
I understand.
So I feel very, very lucky, but anybody can, if they want to have clear communication and organizational structure, anybody can apply that to their industry and their small business. But I have really come to love mostly our real estate agents. I'm not just saying that because you're our agent, but
well,
right,
it is me.
Yeah. But what's really fun is we are in the business of making other small businesses grow. So every agent has their own small business. And so we're able to say, okay, if we can create a foundation, just a nice roadway so that our agents can drive as far and as fast as they want with their business, then you watch them fly. And that's the best feeling ever. We've had real estate agents come to us, newly licensed, not knowing a thing about the business, going through training, leaning on our resources, and then they're able to quit their full-time job and make a living, and not only do that, but hit the financial goals that they wanted to hit because they've learned how to do this skill and learned how to do it well. And I think that's the aspect of real estate that just gets everybody going. And there's not a person at Premiere Plus Realty any longer, I would say, that doesn't share that same feeling. That's one of our core values, is to really, really care about our agents. And so you have to truly love seeing other people win. And some brokerages love to see themselves win. And for us, it's really about making sure that our agents always win. And we have people that align to that value, and that's the filter by which we make all of our financial decisions and business decisions. So it's really rewarding.
Well, you touched on something about the culture, about you like to see the culture is we want to see the agents win. And I think that also speaks to the heart of a lot of business structures, especially ones that might be struggling, is because you're a business owner and you're here and you maybe we're a solopreneur, sometimes it's hard to let go. Sometimes you want to make sure you're doing well. Some people are just too centered in themselves when they try to build a team of people to go out and help them be successful. And some people find it threatening because they might take their business or something like that. But I like that you touched on that, because I think when you make a culture of the business being able to be about everyone winning, everybody, whether it's in your job or in your sales or whatever it is, make part of all of your team have those wins. It's not just about the people at the top. And I like that you touched on that, because it's something that not everybody thinks of when they're building a culture, or they're threatened by it. I see a lot of new solopreneurs and entrepreneurs, they go out there and they're like, oh, I can't share that with somebody because they might go out and start their own business.
Yeah.
And one thing I've learned from entrepreneurship, especially in the business that we used to have, when you think that somebody's going to go out and steal your stuff, let them go ahead and try. Because I will tell you, they don't have the passion, they don't have the time. You've made it look easy to be at the top, but when they try to go out and do it, it ain't that easy. And so I always say, God bless them. Go ahead, give it a shot. And then the next thing you know, they're coming back, or they're just like, oh, I didn't. And then now they've burned that bridge. But I always say, don't worry about what people are going to do with the information you give them. Just, wish them well. And if they're working with you, pick them up. So I like that culture.
Totally agree. Absolutely agree with that.
So you're bringing up some really great business points. I love that we're sharing that with our audience. So you made the move from Los Angeles back to Florida. So that must have been a significant change. What brought you back here from all the way across the country?
So I moved to Los Angeles to pursue acting, and I had this really amazing acting manager and I was able to get these auditions that are totally insane. And the history of my television career in Los Angeles is one of, I was always the girl that almost got the part. So I'd screen test for all kinds of things that you've seen on TV, all kinds of actresses that you know now. I was their second. And I thought, if I stay out here, maybe I have an opportunity to do something. But the truth of the matter is I'm really passionate about education. So I was it was one of my goals in my family to graduate from college, because I would have been the first person on one side of my family that graduated with a 4-year degree. So it was something that it was a huge goal of mine. And I was living and working in Los Angeles around people who were 10, 15 years older than me, still trying to make it. And granted, I had a lot of opportunities that maybe they hadn't experienced yet, so I feel extremely lucky about that. But truly, I know it sounds lame, acting wasn't something that was a burning passion and desire in my heart. I really wanted to receive an education, and I think that I have found that burning passion and desire in business, and I just enjoyed acting. So I enjoyed it, but it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to live and die by this. And so I could see other actresses around me who did have that passion, and I thought, oh, girl, you're going to make it, because going to school means more to me than than what I see you wanting to do with acting. So it was truly wanting to get a 4-year degree, and I'm so glad that I did, and came back and had some good work experience, and then got married and started a family. But I was able to do some acting projects out of Orlando, so I just travel back and forth, and then of course worked locally in the news station. But ultimately, like I said, I thought, oh, I'm fairly good at this. People are paying me money to do this. I enjoy it, but this isn't. I don't think this is what I was made for.
I totally get it, because
Yeah.
I also enjoy that you brought that up, because right now there's a lot of talk about out there in the world, what's your purpose, following your purpose. And in my coaching, I work a lot on helping people find their purpose and following your purpose and your dream versus what either society thinks you should be doing, or versus what your family might tell you, or, oh, I'm like, for example, I'm good at acting, but it's not my passion. I'm good at something, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's meant for me. And I have some passion projects, and then I have some project that I just like to do. Like, it's fun. I really enjoy the modeling. I have all my life. And when it circles back around that I get to do that, it's fun. And if I can make a little money on the side, that's great. But it's not my 100% day to day, like, I want to go on that go-see, I'm going to get that job. It's like, no, I don't want to go on 100 go-sees. Don't worry, I'm here for those jobs if you need me.
Totally.
I'm absolutely here.
Girl, I feel that. I'm like, if you need a host that can read a prompter cold for 5 hours straight, I'm your girl, But is that what I wake up, passionate about, pounding the pavement to do every day? No.
Right.
Yeah.
No, so, and I like that people are starting to learn.
Yeah.
And I think also with jobs changing, I think the pandemic, people having to change and pivot, I think it brought out what do I want to do? What's next for me? And so I think we're just there. In your bio, you mentioned you've worked with nonprofit organizations, and that taught you how to do a lot of impact with a little bit of resources. Do you have a particular memorable project or something that you like, I made this happen from I don't know where? Just, whoo.
Yeah, I love that question. So I've worked for two nonprofits, and actually, and then I used to freelance for a variety of local nonprofits. So, but employed by two, and then in my small business that I had for a time, I was able to help some local nonprofits, and I usually help them plan their big events and do their communication strategy. So it was usually centered around raising money, and I was able to assist with planning and executing a large fundraising banquet at the Botanical Gardens that where we raised way more funds for a particular project than we even realized. We were trying to build a guest house for women who find themselves in unplanned pregnancies, and they want to carry to term, but they need a place to live. They find themselves homeless. So we were able to raise the funds for that guest house, and that was super rewarding. And I enjoyed doing that among many other little projects, but they all centered around helping a nonprofit organization get their message clear, to write their strategy, to tell their story, help them film videos, help them ultimately fundraise or attract the person that they were trying to serve. So I think in the way that relates to business is I was able to step back and see, okay, what are we doing as a real estate brokerage? It's not, it's not rocket science. You do some paperwork, it's contracts, you sell houses, things like that. I mean, there are thousands of real estate brokerages in Florida, but what makes ours unique and different? What's our story? How do we communicate that? And with our particular real estate business model, we don't charge our agents a lot to work there. So we try to remain as competitive as possible in that area. So it really helps me to remember the nonprofit days of going, okay, well, this is what we have. How can we tell the best story? How do we tell the story that's better than our competitors so that people will want to clearly understand what we're all about?
And when you were mentioning how the connection between business and charity, I know the model at Premiere Plus because I'm there.
Yeah.
And I always kind of wondered, how do they do this within this financial that I see on my
Mm-hmm.
side part. And that makes sense because you've learned we don't need billions of dollars to make it successful. But we do need money to make it successful. So how can we divvy that up into different areas? And then from the nonprofit sector, I had a question because we had, well, I'll just ask you. So what is your influence on the PPR cares, the Premiere Plus Realty cares part? Because I don't know if we've always had it, but I've seen it become a lot more out there. I'd like to say it was because of me and our diaper drive and our backpack drive and our Christmas drive that I dragged into the building many times. But I've also seen it really flourish since you've been there. So explain to me how one might have had an influence on the other.
Well, I'm really glad you asked that. And you totally had an influence on that. So you are so generous and you're always doing something to help an organization or people that you've made connections with, and you hear about a need and you say, okay, I have the resource for that. And that's super inspiring to me. So thank you for that. But PPR Cares really started out as a giving initiative. So Premiere Plus Realty has always had canned good drives or toy drives at our sales meetings that we would have with our agents, but the giving wasn't formalized, if you will.
Okay.
So our owner, his name is Eric Gallus, and he's the owner of the brokerage, and he is extremely generous. He and his wife Jacqueline, and so it was their desire to figure out a way to give back more to local nonprofits that they're really passionate about, the two of them. And so I'm also really passionate about the same charities that they are. And I said, why don't we formalize this effort and call it something? Let's give it a name, and let's put some exciting events behind this so that we can not only bring awareness to the local nonprofits that we're passionate about, but we can get our agents involved in the community, because my desire was to make such an impact with PPR Cares or with our efforts that if we were to just leave the community, the community would feel it. So how can we influence the community in such a positive way that if we weren't here, it wouldn't be as big of an impact, I guess you could say. So we give a certain percentage of every transaction fee that we receive back to the local nonprofits and charities that Eric and Jacqueline are really passionate about. But more than that, we also organize serve days so that we can put our hands and feet to our heart's desire to give back. And so we've done things like pack meals and backpacks for local school children, or we've done a beach cleanup. We cleaned up a ranch that was a haven for troubled youth, and various service projects. And what that has done is that's brought our company together for a purpose that's higher than us and higher than business. And it's developed relationships in the community that are just incredible. And it also gives purpose to what we're doing, because we sort of look at the same paperwork all the time.
Yes, I understand.
Listen, you and the rest of the amazing real estate agents have a much more glamorous, and it's not even that glamorous, right? Like the work that you do is just, it's a lot of hard work, but you guys make it look easy. Our job behind the scenes is just to support you, and so it gets to be okay. Oh my goodness, we've got to get some purpose behind this. So going out and serving and getting everybody involved has been a little fire in the staff in particular, and with our agents, to go, okay, we're doing something that is actually making an impact in our local community.
And it takes the monotony of that paperwork, because as a real estate agent, the people are different, but the paperwork is the same. And once you get to that part of a deal or the deal closes, you're still back at the same paperwork and back at the kind of the same, I don't want to say the same thing because the people and everything are different, but then you have the behind the scenes. And it's nice to get people out of the office, to get the closing coordinators out of the office, to get the agents out of their routine, whether it's driving certain neighborhoods or knocking on certain doors or whatever it is that they're into. And it brings them into a whole different type of community, whether it's at the beach or at the ranch or whatever you all are working on.
Yeah.
And then you also get to see other people. It's almost like big corporations that have satellite offices and come together,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, oh, you're Bob. I talk to you on the phone all
Right.
the time. I did it. So in this case, it's like, oh, I did a deal with you, but I didn't ever saw you. Oh, nice to see you. That was a
Right.
great whatever. Or, oh, you have another client, or oh, they're
Yeah.
buying a similar thing. Oh, I have this thing. And so I don't know, it's just it creates a different dynamic when you're
Mm-hmm.
working with the cares part. So I can see how that kind of weaves
Mm-hmm.
into all of, at least this way I look at things. So all of these jobs and different nuances in your life have led here where you've created kind of a whole umbrella out of all of your experiences into one business.
Yeah, and I think that we can't help but do that, right? So it's we're all so dynamic, and every experience that we have, good, bad, ugly, exciting, all informs who we are today. And I think that for me, I just feel so lucky to have a diverse array of really cool things. And it's like, when I was a little girl, I didn't wake up and go, you know what, I want to be a broker. and, but but this is exactly what I feel like I was made for. And
Okay.
it's just really yeah. So it's really fun to have all, like you said, all those things to come together.
I think that people don't realize too that no matter where they've been in life,
Mm-hmm.
that those experiences can carry forward into a success later on. If they've been through some trials and tribulations that maybe weren't so great, or some career changes that didn't work out for them,
Mm-hmm.
those experiences can always be used later on,
Mm-hmm.
whether good, bad, indifferent, not successful, successful.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what makes a good, really, I personally think that's what makes a good executive or a good entrepreneur, is when you've been through a bunch of different things, a good, bad, or indifferent.
Mm-hmm.
It really brings you to a place of, oh, I've been there, or oh, I've seen that, or oh, dear Lord, I've seen that.
Yeah, let's
Let's
avoid that.
let's not, yeah, let's not do that. So I'm glad to see someone else, because sometimes I get people that are, I've done this my whole life, and I'm like, okay, and that's great, but it gives people hope that they can make a change
Mm-hmm.
too, for sure. So serving as president of Premiere Plus Realty is quite the undertaking. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, there are how many agents approximately?
So we actually have two brokerages. One has 1,500 and one has 300, and so it's yeah, about 1,800 under our care.
That's a lot. That's a
Yeah.
lot. So what philosophies and practices have you embraced that you feel contribute the most to the success of your current position as well as for Premiere Plus?
Ooh, that's a great question. I know it may sound a little, I don't know if cliche is the right word, but it really all comes down to culture. And as a leader, we have to put ourselves last. And for me, I really believe that leadership is not a reward. Leadership is a responsibility. And so when I think of my position, I'm there to, I have the most responsibility, but I'm there to serve everybody else. It's not all about me and making sure that I get exactly what I want, because I think that those kinds of leaders with that sort of motivation, ultimately, the bigger they are, the harder they fall, because you build everything. When you build something with a team atmosphere, with the heart to serve first, then I think that good things happen. But we have a very strict culture of being humble to learn, humble to work as a team, hungry to achieve, people smart, we care, and we do the right thing. And we hire and we fire based on that. We make all of our business decisions based on that. And I personally just believe that, again, leadership is not just it's not a reward, because it's hard. I mean, nobody tells you that you're going to get calls at 11 o'clock at night and that are really hard, complicated situations, or the big decisions we're making due to changes in our industry right now. So it truly is a responsibility, and I think that you have to have the fortitude to do that. So I would say that's the biggest thing.
I can totally see that too.
Mm-hmm.
Again, being in the culture
Mm-hmm.
and seeing how you have what you've brought in since your tenure with us at Premiere Plus Realty, as they were a few years before you, yeah. So what any upcoming projects or initiatives for Premiere Plus Realty and for yourself, like anything on the horizon that we should be excited to look forward to?
Oh, thanks. Yeah. So for Premiere Plus Realty, we recently affiliated with a national brokerage called United Real Estate. And so we're still a 100% owner, but we just created an affiliation so that our agents can have a national relocation and referral network. They can have some resources and opportunities that we couldn't have done on our own. So we are new and fresh in that relationship, and we're still exploring what all of that means, and our agents are still learning about that. But I'm really excited because their values align with ours, and that they are really concerned with the financial trajectory and health of every agent there, and they put the agent before themselves also. So it's really an affiliation that works and that provides a lot of the same opportunities that these other national brokerages or affiliate networks have, but they align with what we're about, and I'm really excited about that. Personally, my own personal or professional relationship, I'm looking forward to there's a designation that I'm looking forward to getting. It's like a certified brokerage manager.
Okay.
It's super boring and but woo, but it is something that it's hard to get. Not everybody can get that. I've also recently gone through Florida Realtor spokesperson training, so I'm excited to be someone that Florida Realtors can rely on to talk about complex issues in our business.
I can tell you from the designation standpoint,
Mm-hmm.
some of them are very complicated and quite intense to get.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're sitting there, especially the ones where you have to be live, you're like,
Yeah, I know.
I feel like I'm back trying to take my
Yeah.
the real estate course.
Right.
Again, you're just like, oh, this is the law part. I have to pay attention. I have to. Okay, more
Right.
coffee. I don't know what it is. Maybe just because we haven't been in school for years,
Right.
and we're not used to the 8-hour drag on,
Yep.
and we're used to go, go, go. But for some reason, you put me in that chair.
It's like, oh my gosh. Well, the good real estate people are high I or high extroverted personalities. And, if you are the type of person that would do really, really well sitting for 8 hours and paying attention to law, you're probably not like the best with people. I don't know. Or maybe
sales.
or sales. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's not a bad thing. So I think that's a good
Yeah,
thing.
you got to find that balance. But the designations,
Yeah.
like the ones that I know of, the ones you're going for, and they're great to have. It's just getting to that finish line it's a little bit of a
Right.
thing. So if people wanted more information or to reach Premiere Plus Realty, where would they reach out to? Because I want to make sure it's my real estate office. I'm giving it a
Mm-hmm. So if you're looking to purchase or sell a home, you can reach out to Kristen Weardon, and she's incredible and a wonderful professional. You can search for homes on her website. But if you are a real estate agent looking to make a change and have resonated with what I've said today, then I encourage you to go to joinpremiere.com and learn more about us to see if we'd be a good fit for you. Otherwise, my Instagram handle is Jillian RY, and I'd love to connect with you there.
Yeah, you definitely have to follow her Instagram. And I've been with Premiere Plus, like I said, since 2015. Before that, I was with my mom's office and another small brokerage because I live in Pelican Bay. And there was a small brokerage that just did Pelican Bay, but I only did referrals. When you have kids, I don't know how you do it.
Mm-hmm.
You have 2 children.
Yes.
And when my kids were small, I did mostly referrals, but it was also during the downturn of the economy. I personally did not want to learn foreclosures. So I did a lot of referrals from a smaller brokerage that just ran out of Pelican Bay. That's all they did was really Pelican Bay. But when I was looking for another office, I came to Premiere Plus, but my kids were grown, like grown enough in school. But you have 2, you're married, you do this, you're getting designations, you run this firm with all these agents. Outside of that's where I was going. The intravenous coffee device. Is that where that comes in?
You get a coffee, yeah. I would say my husband he's my partner through and through. He's just there. he's an incredible supportive partner. So he helps with the kids all the time, and he doesn't even see it as helping with the kids. They're our kids. So he makes it possible for me to achieve my goals and dreams, and he's totally supportive. I would not be able to do all of this if he wasn't so supportive. And I also have a great family. All of my family lives in town, so they're really helpful, and they've always known that I speed read. I like to learn a lot of things. I always have 100 ideas of things I want to do and things I want to achieve. So they're used to it by now. And they're always like, all right, Jillian, what is it that you want to do now? Let's go. And my natural proclivity is just to work a lot and do a lot all at once. So I have to learn to slow down. So that's something I'm working on personally, is making sure that there's some balance there. But there really is no balance when your kids are at home and you are working full time and have a lot of responsibility. I would say, like, there's no work-life balance. It is always at an imbalance. There's always something that's going to suffer. And I've just accepted that. It just depends. What we have to decide is what's going to suffer today, because we can't possibly do it all, and we just have to give ourselves grace and not have shame about it, and say, well, I'm not going to get to all my emails, but my kids are going to have a fully present mom for this amount of time, or my kids are going to have to wait because this thing with business is really important right now. So yeah, the whole balance thing is a myth, I think. But
I call it managing.
yeah, there you go.
I too believe that the having it all and all, there's the work-life balance. I don't call it balance. I call it managing, because I think the balance is a myth, and I think it stresses people out to try to say, how do I balance all of these things? How do I make this happen?
Right.
And it's like, you can't. You can have it all, just not all at once.
Yes, I love that.
So I've always once I got rid of that fallacy of I can have it all and have balance, I said and realized I can't have it all today, but over the next week I might be able to manage all of these things. So it really, for me, comes down to managing. And it sounds like you do a lot of managing. You manage people and you manage what is important today.
Right.
So but I will say, I love the intravenous coffee.
Yeah.
It was in her bio. It was in her bio. And I said, I think every real estate agent, or really anyone in sales, would love to have the intravenous coffee.
Yes. Have you been to one of those vitamin shops or the vitamin places where they do the IV? Yeah. I'm like, yeah, like that, but just caffeine, because,
So we can get more done.
Just get more done. We need to be able to but those different supplements that you can get that are this like focus or energy or things like that.
Brain health.
Yeah, brain health, things like that. I always find when I'm high in B vitamins, I focus better. So it probably has something to do with just making sure that we're eating right and drinking enough water.
Remembering to eat.
Yeah, right.
Remembering to drink water and trying to get enough sleep, I'm sure.
Right.
We will have segments on health, so stay tuned for those. I'll share them with you. So thank you so much, Jillian, for being here today as our guest. I know you're very busy, as we all just learned, and for finding the time to come in and talk with us today. I really do appreciate it. As my broker, as our president of our company, I appreciate it on that level, but also as a guest for the show, I do appreciate it.
Well, thank you. It was such an honor to be asked, and I'd love to do this anytime. And I just so appreciate you, and I just think that you are just an incredible inspiration to so many professionals, and it's just an honor to do this with you. So thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today on the Kristen Weardon Show. I will also put Jillian's links and the links to PPR in the comment sections, and anywhere this is posted, you will see the information there. Have a great day, and we look forward to seeing you again on the next episode of the Kristen Weardon Show. I'm Kristen Weardon, and have a great day.